We're breaking down the civil war between MAGA and Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, MAGA, you guys sound like a bunch of whining bitches. I don't know why you're crying at this Vivek take. Vivek is absolutely right when he says the problem with America right now is all about culture and not about American IQ or anything like that. You guys are reading too much into this. And if you guys don't know the background here, Vivek and Elon sent off a firestorm across the web that's now in some sort of MAGA civil war. Well, the left will have you believe it's a MAGA civil war, but it's really a healthy debate, all right, on really where we want the culture to go. Vivek and Elon says that the reason why America is lacking behind other countries when it comes to tech and STEM and all these industries that's critical and vital to just the progression of humanity if you, on a grand scheme is because America we prioritize BS like the prom king, right? And other cultures glorify things like the mathematician and the spelling bee champion. This is a fascinating debate happening right now within MAGA, and it's not a civil war. Okay, I was watching a report on NBC today, and they're beside themselves saying that MAGA is steep in a civil war. It's not a civil war. These are competing ideas in America. And in MAGA, we have different ideas, not like the left. The left has one idea. MAGA cares about different ideas, different ideologies. The left, they care about sexuality, skin color, and a bunch of crap that doesn't matter at the end of the day. So I want to break down Vivek's tweet for you guys because I think this tweet by Vivek is on the money, and this is the new MAGA. This is American exceptionalism that people should be adopting. A lot of people are throwing shade at Vivek and Elon because of this take, not me. A lot of people like Nikki Hayley calling Vivek trash. I don't know why Nikki Haley doesn't want to change American culture. Right now, American culture is a participation trophy culture, a culture of DEI. I don't know why Nikki Haley doesn't want to change American culture. But let's take a look at what Vivek had to say. Let's break down his tweet. The reason why top tech companies often hire foreign or first generation born engineers over Americans isn't because of the innate American IQ deficit. Vivek says that's a lazy way of explaining things, but rather a key part of it comes from the big C word, the word culture. He says it's a tough question, and people should not be snowflakes and just relax. Okay, so Vivek says that the reason why these companies are hiring these foreigners, look, man, it's got nothing to do with the American IQ. American folks are, folks in the hood, folks in Appalachia, are just as smart as those tech guys in India taking all the IT jobs. It's just that those tech guys, when they're in high school and middle school, instead of going to the football game or instead of watching SpongeBob on a Saturday morning, those tech guys in India were practicing C++ programming. It's what you focus on. It's your culture. And I'm not mad at Vivek. Look, if I had a company and I wanted the best people working for me, I'm going to hire the guy who knows how to do the job. And those who disagree with that, it sounds like you like DEI. Is that what you're advocating for, Nikki Haley and other parts of MAGA? Do you guys want DEI, or do you want the best person who can do the job, regardless of culture? Vivek says, our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, and it's facts. At least since the 1990s, or likely longer, he says. He said that doesn't start in college, it starts young. It starts younger. You glorify Americans glorify bullshit, and I'm going to talk about Black Americans here because that's what I am. Black Americans glorify bullshit. Even the school kids. Look what the school kids focus on. Young Black kids focus on getting Jordans. At least when I was growing up. Now it's what probably getting Jordans and getting likes off of bullcrap. Okay. But you got these kids coming from overseas. You got these Nigerian kids, you got these Indian kids, you got these Chinese kids coming from overseas. They don't know anything about Michael Jordan. All they know is that their mom and dad used to sell crap on their head because they were broke, and they better not do that over here. That's all they know. It's all about culture. Let's move. Let's keep going. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ, or the jock over the valedictorian, will not produce the best engineers, and that's straight facts. All right. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. I don't think Vivek is saying anything wrong with being a prom queen or a prom king, all right, in and of itself. But there needs to be balance. There is benefit in becoming the best version of yourself, especially in a social setting. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, trying to maximize your physical prowess. That's even a good thing for men. That's a healthy thing. But that shouldn't be the only thing you focus on. I can't believe this is even controversy, man. He says a culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World. For the younger guys, that was a popular show in the 90s. Corey was like the pretty boy. Corey was like your Justin Bieber at the time. So it says a culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World, or Zach and Slater over Screech, another old-fashioned movie, but over Screech, another nerd from Saved by the Bell, or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters, will not produce the best engineers. Vivek is absolutely right. And I know a lot of these references are going over some of your heads, like Stefan over Steven and Steven Urkel. Stefan was Steve Urkel's hip alter ego. And it's so funny. And this is so true in the black community. You see, Stefan was like the player, right, type. He didn't care about school. He was a Mac with the chicks. He had all the flyest clothes. And all the girls wanted Stefan. When Steven was a smart one, Steven was your coon. Okay? So we got a culture that rewards Stefan and demonizes Steven. That's exactly what Vivek is talking about. So a culture that glorifies Stefan is going to give you Black Lives Matter and gives you DEI, because they care more about cultural crap, skin color, right? Representation, looking fly, sticking it to the white man. That's all part of the modern American culture that Vivek is pushing back against. And again, I don't know why MAGA is giving Vivek such a hard time pointing this out. It deserves to be pointed out. Good on you, Vivek. Okay. Vivek says, in fact, I know multiple sets of generations of parents in the 1990s who actually limited how much their kids would watch those kinds of TV shows, those trash TV shows, precisely because they promoted mediocrity, because those parents knew that those TV shows were trash. And their kids went on to become wildly successful STEM graduates. More movies like Whiplash. I don't know what Whiplash is. Fewer reruns of Friends, Vivek suggests. I've never watched an episode of Friends. Actually, I did. I saw like an episode and a half, and I thought that was the most corny crap. No shade to you if you like Friends, but I think that TV show is trash. You shouldn't be watching that TV show. Anyway, more math tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekends of science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons, fewer SpongeBob and Cartoon Network, jazz like that. More books, less TV, more creating, less chilling. More extracurriculars, less hanging out at the mall. You see, Vivek is just breaking down American culture. That's the kind of American culture that leads to fewer Americans behind STEM jobs. And there's nothing wrong with Vivek saying that. It's just a matter of fact. I don't know why Nikki Haley and other MAGA people are pissed off at Vivek for saying this. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Quit being a snowflake. We live in a culture where of people chilling on their phones, people not going out touching grass. And then we wonder why most of the tech jobs come from India and China and Nigeria, because you fools, instead of learning C++ and Python, you guys are doing bullshit. Most normal American parents look skeptically at those kinds of parents. Yeah. They're like, why are you so hard on your kids? Because you guys got to understand, a lot of parents do look down on the foreigners. They feel like they're American, they're too hard on their kids. But you have to understand where those foreign parents are coming from. Typically, they're coming from some harsh upbringing. They're running from some crap. So they had to pay all this money to become legal U.S. citizens, all for their kids to piss it away? I don't think so, according to them. They know the value of hard work, and you best believe they're going to instill those values in their kids. Okay? So Vivek says normal American parents look skeptically at those kinds of parents. More normal American kids view those kinds of kids with scorn. Why you carrying your books? Why don't you want to hang out? Why you always gotta be reading all the time? Why you gotta be such a coon? If you grew up aspiring to be normal for normalcy, normalcy is what you will achieve, according to Vivek. Vivek says, now close your eyes and visualize which families you know in the 90s or even now who raise their kids according to one model versus the other model. Let's be real. If you take a black person and you raise them up in a two-parent household where they value education, where the kids aren't spending their Friday nights, Saturday nights, hanging out on the block or in some vacant apartment somewhere, cooking up God knows what, right? You take that parent and you compare it to the parents who are allowing the kids to run the streets. Just be honest. Where do you think those two kids will end up? And if you say they might, more likely it'll end up in the same predicament, you're probably lying. You guys got to be honest with yourselves here. And not just because Vivek is sounding like he is it's nothing anti-American just because you criticize America, okay? You normally criticize things you love. If you want something to change, you criticize it. MAGA. He says, normalcy doesn't cut it in a hyper-competitive global market for technical talent. And if we pretend like it does, we'll have our asses kicked by China. If you pretend that you half-assing stuff will cut it, then you might as well just, I don't know, stick your head in the sand. Because what good are you? You're going to continue to get your lunch eaten by China, whose kids are learning coding from the age of 5. And our kids are, having a mask on during COVID and not even developing fundamental cues of speech. It's all about culture. And I don't know why MAGA is melting down over this. I don't know why Nikki Hayley is giving Vivek such a hard time over this, Nikki. And we normal Americans, Nikki, are going to remember this in 2028. If you come up and try to do anything on a national political scale, we'll remember that you're demonizing people who are trying to get a fundamental change in this country, and you praising and glorifying mediocrity, Nikki. Okay, but let's wrap up what Vivek is saying here at the end of this tweet. Vivek says this right now could be our Sputnik moment, and I totally agree. He says we have awakened from our slumber before, and we can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America, but only if our culture fully wakes up. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. Okay? Coon over being a normal. I'm totally on board with what Vivek Ramaswamy is saying. It's good to buck the system. It's good to be a nerd. It's good to be called a coon when most people rather blame the system. Good on you, Vivek Ramaswamy. I got your back.